It is game week. Welcome back to Banditland Boulevard. Game 2 coming up here in this early 2026 season. Trevor Howard here, Tony LaMonica there, rocking the Reebok jersey on the other side of the screen. We love that. Hey, I'm rocking the 2008 championship T-shirt. So we're kind of like that. We're kind of two great minds think alike. So.
This
Just
is true.
putting that out there. Yeah, it was a great time. If you haven't checked out our interview with Pat McCready from yesterday, go out and check that out first, and then come back to this video and watch the preview of the Bandits versus the Thunderbirds. But it's going to be a holiday party at the KeyBank Center. I think the first 10,000 fans get the magnet schedule, so get to your seats early. But this one is going to be a battle at the KeyBank Center, Tony. The Halifax Thunderbirds and the Buffalo Bandits. The Bandits, since they turned into Halifax, are 7-3 all time against the Thunderbirds. The last time the Thunderbirds beat the Bandits was February of 2024, according to John Gertler's Gert's Fast Break that I read a couple hours ago. The last time the Bandits beat Halifax was a game that you remember. Everybody should. That was the game last year that gave the Bandits the #1 seed in the National Lacrosse League, beating them. So that was big. These teams don't like each other. This is the old Nighthawks going up against the current Bandits. So no love lost between these two teams. Tony, how are you feeling going into this game against the Halifax Thunderbirds?
Completely different style coming into Banditland this Saturday coming up. I believe the game time is at 7:30, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Well, at that note, saying that, again, face-off's going to be a little bit more challenging for Farrell, going up against one of the best in the game. You have goaltender versus
7 o'clock.
Oh, it's a 7 o'clock game.
Yep, 7 p.m.
You got your goaltending battle between Hill and Vince. That's going to be pretty wild to watch. And, of course, it's going to come down to who's going to score more goals than the other. Other than that, it's going to be a back-and-forth battle, I think, the whole entire game. But it's going to be fun to watch. Come out on Saturday night. If you haven't gotten tickets yet, go get them.
Two pretty elite jersey matchups, too. If anybody's into that stuff, you're going to see the Bandits 90s threads going up against the Halifax Whites with the diagonal letters. I love those jerseys. I'm not even going to lie. Pretty elite matchup. Hey, they said something about a holiday party at the KeyBank Center. So if you have your Santa suit, you can wear that and you can throw your Bandits jersey over the top of it. No one's going to judge you. No one's going to do that.
Not at all.
I think this is the last home game before the holiday season really starts. So
yeah,
go out
and then another 2-week break.
Up, string some lights around your head if you want to, and
ugly sweaters are dotable.
We'll just do it up. Yeah, the ugly sweaters too.
Let's get them out, break them out.
But yeah, dude, it's gonna be a great game. No love lost between these two teams. Halifax has a pretty stacked roster, and if you watch their performance that they had last week, now granted, this is the Oshawa Firewolves. A team that one could argue that the Buffalo Bandits broke in 2024. And
absolutely.
But nonetheless, Halifax beat them 11-2 last week. They held them to 2 goals. Halifax also was losing that game at one point 2-1. They then score 10 unanswered and win the game 11-2. Oshawa was shut out in the second, third, and fourth quarter of that game. So pretty outrageous stats. Warren Hill played out of his head. Amazing. You got 2 great goalies going up against each other. But I think just like every other preview episode, Tony, we got to go into our players to watch, and we always go to the opposition first. This time it is the Halifax Thunderbirds. I'll let you kick things off. Who are you watching? Because they got a roster full of players that you can highlight. Take the yellow Sharpie out there and start highlighting names. But who's the first guy that comes to mind when you think of players to circle on that roster?
Well, like we talked before we even started the show, I think my go-to guy is going to be Ryan Terefenko. Terefenko has been tearing it up, especially in the transition, scoring goals at will. He's like our Ian McKay. He could play any position possible, and he is a threat to the Bandits defense. So if they would shadow him a little bit more, and maybe not as much as Jammer or say Hogarth that comes into town. I mean, Terefenko is one of those guys that are uprising stars that you got to have to watch out for, especially with the kind of shot he brings to the table.
I totally agree. I mean, he is that transition guy. If they're going to score a transition goal, it's probably going to be to him. So he's definitely a player to circle. For me, it's a guy that had a very explosive night the last time these two teams met at the KeyBank Center. That's number 51, Dawson Theed. This guy's a left-handed shot, big body, big screen guy in front of the net, shovels in the garbage. And I mean, he made life a living hell for Matt and Vince the last time these two teams faced against each other. Dawson Thied, what was it, 4 or 5, maybe even a sock trick the last time they played each other. I think it was 4 or 5 goals, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. But he could be a thorn in your side. 6'4", 250 pounds, a left-handed, lethal left-handed sidearm shot. Big screen guy to watch in front of the net. If you give him any open space whatsoever, he's going to pick a top corner every single time. And we know the weaknesses of Matt Vince, and that's always the top corner over the shoulder. So Dawson Thied knows that as well. He was targeting that a lot last year. Obviously wasn't enough to beat the Bandits last year, as the Bandits do have the upper hand on them. 7-3 was their all-time record against the Halifax Thunderbirds since the expansion, or since the dispersion, I guess, or relocation, I think is the word I'm looking for, out of Rochester to Halifax. So nonetheless, Halifax has some stars. They always play us pretty well, and a guy like Dawson Thied will do that to you.
Yeah, and especially like you said, we like to call him the pickpocket. He knows how to pick corners. He knows how to go to the feet. He knows how to find a way to score goals, and that's something that the Bandits are going to have to figure out what they're going to have to do to shut his kind of style down. But that's going to be tough to do. But somehow, some way, they find a way. They find a game plan to set the tone and really kick things off, especially against their opponents. But again, this could be a tough task for them coming Saturday.
I think so too. And there's a lot of good names that are still on this team. A lot of vets that have had plenty of experience in this league. Cody Jamieson, we got JMO out there still going up against the Bandits, and he's been a thorn in the Bandits side for years on end, even going back to the early Nighthawk days. And you got him. You got Thomas Hoagie. You got Hoagie back in town. Hogarth is coming back to Buffalo to take on the Bandits as well. One of the defensemen that I really wanted to look at was Graham Hosick. Very underrated player in this league. Big shot blocker, big physical threat in front of the net too. He can lay the body and really put you in a bad spot if you have your head down. If you're not paying attention, Graham Hosick can really knock the living daggone daylights out of you.
Yeah, especially he's not even in his prime yet, we feel. I think Hosick's going to be one of those guys that are going to be there for a very, 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 very long time for the Halifax Thunderbirds. And that's somebody that you're going to have to try to figure out, because if you don't figure him out in one quarter, you're never going to figure him out in the whole game. So you got to have to really concentrate, find a weakness, and if you do, exploit it as soon as possible. Because other than that, he's going to have your number since the first second ticks off that clock.
And not even just, not even that, but he also sets up a great outlet pass. He's got a strong arm, he's very smart. He's got a high lacrosse IQ. He knows what he's doing out there, and he can get the ball up the field very, very quickly if you're not paying attention. Not also to mention, Halifax Thunderbirds are coached by a legend in the sport, Micah Kersey. So we're going to see the former Bandit going up against the current Bandit. We got Micah Kersey versus John Tavares in the head coaching battle. So that's going to be very interesting to see. We love Micah Kersey, always have in this city. And, this time we're going to be rooting against him because we got to defend our boys. We got to defend JT and the fellas. We're in the orange and black colors. So it's Bandits over everybody. But one of the things that you were, talking about before we even went on the air was the face-off battle. Now, keep in mind that, Halifax has no slouch in that face-off dot. Jake Withers is one of the best in the sport, whether it's indoor or outdoors, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Jake Withers is very, very talented. Also, Connor Farrell coming off of one of his best games in his NLL career last week, going up against the Georgia Swarm. Does any of that momentum carry into this week going up against a tough guy like Jake Withers?
Confidence boost? I think so, because of how good he was in the faceoff dot, especially winning 26 out of 31. But you're going to have to keep that mentality going up against one of the, like you said, one of the very best faceoff guys in the game right now. And Jake Withers is going to be a tough battle, especially like Trevor Baptiste or Joe Nardella from the Oshawa Firewolves. But again, he's going up against, I think, and I feel, maybe could probably say this, the best face-off guy in the league right now, and that's Jake Withers. Withers is going to give you such a troublesome game, and then he's going to figure out a tone for himself to try to beat Connor Farrell. But Connor Farrell, after going from last season to now, even though it's only been one game, shows us that he can win more than 50% of his face-offs. But we're going to wait and see until Saturday night how good Farrell is going to do up against Withers.
And I will say Halifax really masters their craft in faceoffs and possessions. I mean, remember when they had Jay Thornburg a few years back? They ended up replacing him with Jake Withers. I mean, those are the two best in the sport, bar none. I mean, Jake Withers, you see what he's doing in the indoor and the outdoor game, but Jay Thornburg leading, I think he still has the record for most faceoffs won in National Lacrosse League history, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, shoot. I didn't know that.
So, yeah, that's how the Thunderbirds really crafted their roster. They're more methodical. They're more finesse than anybody else. More possessions, more shots. They want to dominate you and they want to drain the clock. They want to get an early lead on you and they want to get as many possessions as possible and keep the ball away from you. They tend to play a lot of keep away once they have a lead. So that's something that if the Bandits are in that situation where maybe their backs are against the wall going into the second half, that's something that they have to prevent in some way, shape, or form. And Connor Farrell has to be the guy that steps up, and you're not going to shut him down. How about you just try to, press the limiter button on him? You're not going to, if you get anything close to 35% or 40% against a guy like Jake Withers, that's all we ask. That's all Tony and I ask. And don't even worry about it. If you win the faceoff, or at least it's a loose ball in the neutral zone, the Bandits have some key forwards and key transition guys that can pick up that loose ball and create some separation and get some shots on goal. The Bandits are going to get their chances. It's not like, an 11-2 Halifax win last week is going to be the end-all be-all, and Halifax is going to march into this building and completely squash us. Or
that's not going to happen.
I think this team is way too talented on paper. They're way too talented in general. I mean, look at the three banners behind me. There's a reason why they won those three banners, is because they adjust to every single team. But I truly believe right now, Tony, that Halifax is a true threat to this league, not just the Bandits, but they could be a team that can put a lot of franchises on notice.
Yeah, I mean, with the way they got their team set up this year and the players that they have additionally added, but the fact is that, like you said, take one game at a time, go up against the best, and you go up against the weak. But again, you don't take any team too lightly in this time, and especially now coming Saturday against Halifax, you can't take this team lightly. You go in there, you play your game. You play your game well, you play from each quarter on, you win each quarter, you should win the game. End of story. But other than that, Halifax is not going to make it easy for our boys this game coming up Saturday. So just got to go in there with keep your head up, keep moving forward, play as one. You guys will be fine.
That's right. Take it quarter by quarter. But here comes the fun part now, Tony.
Yes,
Players
sir.
to watch for the Buffalo Bandits. A lot of key guys to look at here, especially against Halifax. We have a few players on this team that have dominated Halifax in the last 10 meetings. Of, whether win or lose, they have dominated the floor against these guys. And I'll let you start off again, Tony. Who's your number one player to watch for the Buffalo Bandits going into game 2?
Well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The only way to win is to hustle to every loose chance, to make a play whenever you can, and to outplay your opponent. Saying that, I have to go to my boy, number 91, Kyle Buchanan, a guy who likes to set things up for the offense, who hustles to the loose balls in the corners or sacrifices himself to, get Dane the ball or get Josh the ball whenever there's a free chance after a shot. You gotta do that against Halifax this game. It's going to be about possession and about control, and you got to have Kyle Buchanan on his A+ game, and I think he's going to do just fine. I don't care if he gets 8 or 9 assists this game. He doesn't have to score goals, but if he creates, that's dangerous for Halifax. So my guy is Kyle Buchanan.
Not bad. Definitely not bad. Kyle Buchanan is always out there, always creating a mess at the top of the crease. And if you can get that goaltender, especially Warren Hill, a guy of his caliber, get him distracted, maybe set up Kyle Buchanan as a mini screen guy, or even just find him tiptoeing around the crease like he usually does and dip it and dunk it behind the goalie. I think the Bandits have way more weapons than the Firewolves do, and I firmly believe that the Bandits absolutely obliterated them and ruined their chances of doing anything in the last couple of years after that 2024 finals matchup where the Bandits came in there and squashed them in 2 games. They haven't been the same since. The Bandits are a much better team, and Kyle Buchanan is one of the guys that kickstarts that pulse in the Bandits lineup. So I love that pick. I'm going to go with the guy, Mr. New Year's Eve. I'm going to go with Mr. New Year's Eve, the Thunderbird Hunter, the Thunderbird Killer, 22 gauge, Josh Byrne all day. Number one player to watch for me. Josh Byrne, I remember going to that New Year's Eve game a couple years ago, maybe a few years ago at this point. 7 goals against the Thunderbirds, against Warren Hill, that same goalie. And 4 out of those 7 goals, I believe, were shorthanded coming from Josh Byrne. He is a Halifax Thunderbird killer, and he showed that in the game last year to clinch the number 1 seed. Marvel Night a couple years ago in Halifax, he was dominant in that game too, despite the loss. You know, if the momentum's still flowing for him, and this is just a guy that completely dominates this team, why won't that continue? Why won't that continue in front of 19,000 plus? Why won't that continue, you know, to give the Bandits a huge chance at starting off the season 2-0 in back-to-back seasons? Josh Byrne, he's won NLL Finals MVP. He's won 3 straight titles. He's been top 3 in points for the last, 4 years consistently. Yep. He's going to continue that trend against a guy who he makes his little biatch, Warren Hill. He I don't know what's in the water he drinks during the Halifax week or the week prior to the game, but he hasn't stopped drinking it for a while. And whatever he does, you know, Warren Hill just has no answer for it. And he's just one of those little – Warren Hill might be Superman, but let me tell you something. Josh Byrne is kryptonite, and somehow he finds a way to beat him every single time.
Man, I couldn't agree more, especially with the fact that you mentioned that, especially how you went, he was a Thunderbird killer. I was thinking of Randy Orton and the RKO, and he's going to knock him out real quick with one big move. But we know Josh has got different styles of play when he's out there and he shows off that left-handed skill. And especially how, like you mentioned, he had 7 goals against Warren Hill. And that could be the answer to the Bandits' prayers for this game coming up. And if you keep giving a guy like Josh Byrne the ball and he can find a way to score goals, that's going to be huge to get that second W for the season. And I think that is a wise choice, my friend.
Absolutely. 22.
But,
yeah, 22-91, 2
Josh
pretty
Byrne.
Damn good players. You had another one, didn't you?
Yes, I did, actually. Somebody that I kind of wanted to say, why did we bring him back? After that first game,
you saw.
I mean,
why.
I don't want to jump to conclusions, but my God, this
why.
one man had a game that made me a believer again, and that is number 12, Mitch DeSnoo. DeSnoo playing out of, like, defensively, keeping Lyle Thompson at bay, and not only that, but getting points.
Consistent.
What in God's name do you think he'd ever do that before? But it's like seeing a completely different player. And you know what? I'm so happy that he came back, because he's showing us why he was Defensive Player of the Year last year.
And not just that, he was twinkle toes a couple weeks ago. Remember that spin dodge he did on that?
Oh my God.
I think that guy's still falling down from that juke that he had. I think he's still spinning around in circles.
He's still trying to stand up.
Spin cycle. I love that pick. Mitch DeSnoo is he's one of the heartbeats of the defense, and hopefully I want to throw this in here too. Inside information, aka not really insider information. We're just shooting the shit with our buddies over at Cobblestone Bar. But Zach Belter on that defense told me he should be. This was 2 weeks ago. Told me he should be ready to go. So nothing's come out yet, but he missed last week's game. If we can get Mitch DeSnoo and Zach Belter and Paul Dawson and Steve Priola back there, I mean, I talked about
that's a tough wall.
And I talked about Cody Jamieson, and I talked about Thomas Hogarth. That's a pretty solid foundation of defensemen that you have to do that. Then on top of that, you have to get the ball past Matt and Vince too. So those guys might be shut down. Those guys might be as limited as possible. I'm going to go with one more guy, though, to watch. Another forward, former Halifax Thunderbird. The last time we lost to these guys, this guy
was because of him.
Scored 5 goals on us. And you mentioned bringing someone back. Well, I'm also going to mention bringing someone back, and that is Benny and the Jets, number 17, Ryan Benesh, one of my all-time favorite Bandits, and this is going to be a homecoming game for him, dude. I mean, yes, he did have a brief stint with the Georgia Swarm, and they did play them last week, but he's had a lot of history with Halifax. He's been there. He was there for quite a while, and I think he was there after he came back from Albany, went over to Halifax for a few seasons, put up some insane numbers there. Now he's coming back to Buffalo, and the one thing we know about Ryan Benesh is when he faces against former teams, He doesn't just beat them, he dominates them. So
yes,
he is the Corey Small. He's very Corey Small-esque in that fashion. Whenever Corey Small faces the Bandits, he's due for 5 or 6 goals. It's the same thing with Ryan Benesh. And when he goes up against his former guys, you're going to tell me that he doesn't know, maybe the weak spots of their defense, or how Micah Kersey coaches, or how maybe the weak spots of Warren Hill in the crease. He knows all that stuff. And I think he's going to exploit it. And I think you're going to hear Elton John playing in the KeyBank Center multiple times on Saturday.
Boy, 1-7. Ryan Benny. What can I say about this guy? Another talented left-handed shooter. Knows where to find the weaknesses, like you said. Against his former team, this would be great too as well. If you put Josh Byrne and Benny on multiple goal nights, I don't see us losing at all.
No,
I don't.
Absolutely not.
I don't. Not especially with the defense that they have. But again, it all depends on how good we are at against Warren Hill. So we'll have to wait and see Saturday.
Yeah, and you would hope that Warren Hill made all of his big saves a week prior, and now he's going to play a little bit softer, a little bit weaker against the Bandits, and he's overdue, Tony, to give up a bunch of goals. He is. He only gave up 2. He's on a 3-quarter streak without giving up a goal, which is insane. So what does that mean for the Bandits? There's blood in the water. He's overdue to give up a stinker. So let's get it done
this Saturday.
And I do think the Bandits have enough weapons to do so. Obviously can't, discredit a guy like Dane Smith, who could easily throw up double-digit point nights. And he's had some pretty good success against the Halifax Thunderbirds too. I'm excited to see what Matt Vince can do. This is technically his old team when he played with the old Rochester Nighthawks. So we'll see what happens there. I think the Halifax Thunderbirds play Matt Vince the best way possible. So that's going to make these score predictions a little bit interesting for me going into today. But let's jump right into our keys to victory. This is the Halifax Thunderbirds and the Buffalo Bandits this Saturday, December 13th at the KeyBank Center. Holiday party at the bank. Once again, first 10,000 fans that show up to the arena get a magnet schedule courtesy of the Bandits. So get to your seats early. Keys to victory. Well, Tony, everything that the Bandits did right last week, they did it right times 10 to the power of 10. And what I want them to do this week is very similar. The one critique that was big from last week was loose balls. I need to see better numbers in loose balls. I thought the Swarm, even on shots where they maybe hit a post or maybe missed the net, how many times did they get their own rebounds back? I mean, I think the Georgia Swarm were lucky that it was only a 4-goal game. If the Bandits picked up half the loose balls they should have, it could have gotten out of hand really fast in that game, and it could have turned out to be a blowout. Loose balls. I'm curious to see if Mike Triolo plays. He brings in the loose balls a lot, so it's going to be interesting to see what the lineup looks like. But the ball hits the post. I get it. It's kind of a weird little bounce, and it might go right back to the defenseman, or might go right back to the forward. I get that. But if the goalie makes a save and it goes to the side of the net, maybe goes behind the net, someone needs to be there. Someone needs to jump on that ball, get the ball out to transition, set up an odd man rush, get set, ready to go, something like that. More possessions. You need more possessions. Not want. You need more possessions against a team that has this much firepower like the Halifax Thunderbirds.
Yeah, defensively, when we're up against their offense, we have got to get to them rebound shots as soon as possible to pick up the loose balls and get our transition to go forward. Other than that, I think you've pretty much nailed my pick of what they have to do too as well. And the key of victory is to make sure that loose ball battles are going to be huge against the Halifax Thunderbirds. You've got to win those battles when fighting for the loose ball inside, like at the corners, in front of the net. Make sure that you get as protect Vince's all time with getting to that loose ball. But I think that's going to be one of the biggest keys to the game to really win. So good call on that one, bud. For me, don't take stupid penalties.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. I know we preach this 1,000 times, but
we saw a lot of that in the
out of the box.
First half last game. We did. We saw a lot
that was
of
bad
penalties in the first half.
And then they stopped doing that because they were actually using their heads. They were being a lot smarter. But guys, whatever they do, and we know Tyson Bell is going to be like Haustrauser or Haustrauser, whatever the fuck his name is. But
Nick Weiss is big. Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Keep your composure. Don't fall for the trap. stay out of the box. That's what you got to do because they will find a way to score power play goal after power play goal. Stay out of the box.
Luke Nielsen, elbows down, buddy. Don't
yes, please
keep that elbow down. I don't remember who took the dumb high sticking penalty last week too, but keep the stick down.
Yeah, we don't need a 5-minute major like the goalie did last week, and they had to serve his own penalty.
Yeah, it turns out the refs were wrong about that. I guess the goalie was supposed to stay in the net the whole time.
I figured that, and somebody was supposed to serve for him anyway, but I was like, wow, he's actually going to go serve his own penalty, which is great.
Which, I mean, I like that. I mean, if it was a minor penalty, I can see the goalie staying in the net, but if it's a major penalty, he should be able to sit out. I think they should.
I agree.
That is when you have to put the backup in. I think that should be an established rule. But anyways, they already had this collective bargaining agreement, so they're not making any rule changes anytime soon. But the thing about the Bandits, and I mentioned high sticking, I mentioned elbows, it kind of goes into this physicality. Halifax is going to be a physical team. Tyson Bell, Bo Hunter, those are big physical guys on that team.
Bring the pain.
I mean, we already kind of preached that in the beginning too. A lot of physical guys on that team. You got to outmuscle them. Whether that's with loose balls, big checks in the corner, stick on stick type of physicality, because they're going to try to push you around. They know that you don't have Chase Fraser on that roster anymore. So there might be blood in the water for them that, hey, I can take a shot at Josh Byrne and nobody's going to stick up for him. I can take a shot at Dane Smith and nobody's going to do anything. At least I don't think. But, I think it starts with the defense. I think it starts with the transition game. If you have 6'8" Mike Triolo in the game, that changes your physicality tremendously. Ron John, a physical guy. Steve Priolo, we know about him as well. Whether it's Dooley or whether it's Belcher that plays, we know both of them can lock it down in the physical department. So out-muscle them, outwork them, pin them up against the wall, hit them. Don't be afraid to lay a shoulder-on-shoulder hit. Show them that you came to play. That 11-2 victory was cute last week. You're not doing that this week, and we're going to shut you up.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to be only held to 2 goals, especially with the firepower of our offense that we have so far. Especially we have Benny back, who could score multiple goals.
Evidently, Mitch DeSnook can score too.
Mitch DeSnook can score. Priolo can score. Did you see that goal that he had too against Georgia?
Josh Byrne can go air gate around the net. Like, come on.
We had Tahoka who scored a couple goals too. I mean, that's another thing we got to watch out for is number 1 on that sheet too is, hey, he could surprise a lot of people. Maybe get under Warren Hill's skin and try to score maybe 3 or 4 himself. I would love to see our natives like Tahoka and Clay Scanlon step up and really show us what the game's all about,
And how about our goal-scoring defenseman? We can't forget about our goal-scoring defenseman, Dylan Robinson.
Dylan frickin' Robinson. Speedy. I thought he's like Justin Martin, very small, but he can play.
He's the empty netting. He's the empty netter king. Every time you need to close out a game, Dylan Robinson
give it to Dylan.
Ball in the empty net every single time. Which I love that. But it's great. Ian McKay is a guy that we're going to be looking.
That's another one they're going to want. We have so much firepower. It's so sick. We can name everybody on the team, and it's so gross.
It's great. I'm curious to see who the scratches are going to be. I wonder if we're going to see Thomas Whitty in the transition department this year or this upcoming week.
We'll have to wait and see.
That'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we are recording this on Wednesday night, so we don't have the injury report just yet.
Or the actual made roster for the game.
Or the roster for the game. So something can happen on Thursday and Friday, and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, so much for that. But we're just going based off what we know on Wednesday night, December 10th. So that's going to be big.
Yep.
I think right now, Tony, did our keys to the game, did our players to watch. I think we need to do our score predictions right now. You start us off this time. Believe it or not, I am still cooking my score prediction up right now. So I'm going to have you.
All right. Okay. Well, folks, I was only off by 1 goal last week. I said 15-10 Bandits win. They ended up winning 15-11. So kudos to me on guessing the exact amount of goals we were going to do. So, but other than that, looking into the rosters that we have going up against each other, and like you said, 7-3 against Halifax all time after transitioning from Rochester to Halifax. We got their number. I think we do it again, especially at home. It's going to be a good fight. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be a great fight. But let's get interesting here. I'm going to say Bandits 14, Halifax 12. It's going to be close. 14-12. Bandits go away with a second win.
14-12. All right. Yeah, I like that. That seems very, very good. I think the lead is going to go back and forth, honestly, and I can totally see that outcome. It's going to be back and forth from the first quarter all the way to the very end. I got my score prediction too, and
let's hear it.
What's going to happen at the end of the game? I'm going to take the Bandits. Of course I am. I'm going to take the Bandits. I think Warren Hill's due to give up a whole bunch of goals, especially in the first half. So we're going to see it go back and forth. I'm going to say the Bandits win this game 12-11 overtime.
Ooh, who gets your overtime goal?
OT winner, number 22, Josh Byrne.
Josh Byrne. Okay.
Josh Byrne walks it
I'm
off.
writing that down, so you got that. So
Yep. 12-11, 14-12. We both got Bandit wins, but we both got close wins. So if anybody's watching this on YouTube, drop your score prediction. If anyone's listening on Spotify, I know that I just found out, literally, as dumb as this sounds, I just found out that you can leave comments on podcasts on Spotify too. Write down your score prediction in the bottom too for our audio.
You want to hear what you guys all have to say.
For our visual listeners on YouTube, drop the score prediction in the comment section. We give you plenty of time. We're posting this on Wednesday night. We're giving you plenty of time. So 12-11 overtime. Josh Byrne's going to turn the lights out on the Halifax Thunderbirds, and you got 14-12. Who's your game-winning goal, by the way? Who's going to score the 13th in game winner?
I'm going to go with your guy that you said that could be a player of the game. I'm going to go with Ryan Benesh.
Benny. Yeah, nice.
I'm going to go with Benny.
Benny and the Jets. It'd be cool to see 1-7 get on the score sheet multiple times, and like
he will. I think he's going to get 6 or better.
We know what he can do against former teams. Trust me, we've seen it firsthand. We have experienced it multiple times. So it's going to be interesting to see. But yeah, it's going to be a great game. Get there, buy your tickets if you haven't already. I want this thing to be a freaking sellout. But Tony, big game coming up. Time to shout out our sponsors.
Banditland Boulevard would like to thank our main sponsor, and that is Mitchell's Tavern, located at 734 Sheridan Drive up in Tonawanda, New York. Guys, if you haven't checked it out yet, Banditland Boulevard ourselves, myself, Tony LaMonica, over there is Trevor Howard, telling you to go check out Mitchell's Tavern. They have the greatest beef on wick in town. They've got great food, amazing service. They will treat you like family. Also in that area, around 2765 Kenmore Avenue in Tonawanda, New York, it is Beer Kind Brewery. If you guys haven't checked out their new drafts and their new tastings of beer, go check it out. You may never know. You might want to go there consistently from now on. So go out there and check out their new flavors. Also, we'd like to thank Herney's Journeys. For those of you who want to book your next big adventure or next trip, please contact Suzanne Pike at SuzannePike@Herney'sJourneys.com. Let her book your next big adventure. Also, we'd like to thank our final sponsor, and that is Nino's Pizzeria, located at 2 locations, 1737 Orchard Park Road in West Seneca and in 315 Buffalo Street in Hamburg. Guys, if you want your best pizza and wings in town, go call them up. Nino's Pizzeria, your pie for the night. And also, we'd like to thank those who are watching us right now on StreamYard through YouTube. Give us that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell every time we talk about Buffalo Bandits lacrosse. Also, if you guys are listening in on every device known to man, especially your tablets, your phone, your radio stations, on Spotify, give us that 5-star rating every time we talk about the Buffalo Bandits lacrosse team.
Perfect. Couldn't have said it better myself. Bandits,
I need some water.
Get there. Be there. Bandits, T-Birds, Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Be there. That's it.
Let's do it. Go for 2-0.
2-0 for the, what is it, second year in a row? I think it was. Yeah, that's right. Second year in a row. 3 words to end every single show. He's got the belt. And he's going to say
get the crown.
Stay proud with these last 3 words. What are they? What
Sweaty.
Are those words?
Sweaty, we love you. We got to get you back on the show, brother. I hope you're listening in. We got to get you definitely back on the show.
Damn right.
In 3 words. In 3, 2, 1. Let's go, Bandits. Let's go for 2-0, boys. Let's get it.
Let's go. The T-Birds. Let's go.